All right, I think we're up and running now. All right, the live is actually working. Got it up on here as well because I want to make sure everything is normal. I'm going to type something in the chat. Chat, check. Whew. All right. Hopefully that should go through to my my OBS. Went through the YouTube studio. All right, the live is actually working. Got it up on here as well because I want to make sure everything is normal. I'm going to type something in the chat. Chat, check. Pretty sure the chat doesn't work on my OBS, but I have my YouTube studio up, so if you want to type something in there, I can see that and I'll respond. There's like a 2-minute lag or so. I'm noticing on what I'm watching here. So if I don't respond right away, that's probably why. But I'm just, kind of testing it out today. I don't really know what I want this to become, but I do know that I like to share what I'm doing. And if you like to just sit and watch someone draw and keep a conversation going, well, so do I. like to add a little white. I'm going to probably go over the whole sky with different, highlights of white just to bring out the sort of the atmosphere of it, bridging the gap between realism and not so realism. I don't know what to go to next, though. I think I'll just go back to purple down there. I think that's going to look best. A little purple. I put yellow down here before, so the purple and yellow, complementary colors, might not blend too well together. You might see the purple start to be a little less vibrant. But we can clean that up. A little lighter with it. Thought I was going to go yellow in the sky. I don't think that's the case. I think the my favorite of all the colored pencils I'm using for this one is this purple. And when you combine it with the pink, it creates some really cool highlights. Wish I could figure out if there's anyone even watching. I don't. Oh, it says 0, so basically just talking to myself. I don't mind that. Sweet. This is a scene looking at Phoenixville. That's the town I live in, if you didn't already know. And let me see if I can pull up the photo that this is referenced from. Because whenever I walk through the town, it's like there's all these like back alleys, and sort of the backs of houses usually have the most interest for me because they always jut out and there's additions and stuff. So it looks really like staggered. So when I look, I don't know if this shows up that well, but when I look at the houses here, there we go. I'll put it side by side. I kind of see not so much of a perfect, I don't know. Can't even find the words perspective on the houses. I actually see them kind of going up and down. It's like they're marching in a line going off in the distance. So I try to create almost like they're going over top of like bumps and things, or the terrain is a lot more, up and down than it actually is here. But this is essentially like how I see it in my brain. Don't take that as a literal thing. Like, I don't see the houses looking like that, but it's how my brain wants to translate it onto paper. And that took a long, long time to get to understand. I did a lot of realism before I actually started drawing like this. So don't let the kind of the cartoonish effect fool you. But in order to draw this cartoonish effect quickly, it took a lot of practice to, figure out how to draw bricks and how to bend the perspective and stuff. It's that idea that you have to learn the rules before you can break them. And I think I'm at the point where I can break most of the rules and it'll still look pretty good. But I have to say, this is like my favorite kind of art. I feel completely rejuvenated with the type of artwork that I'm making. I was in like I was dragging for a while. I just felt like it wasn't me. And as an artist, if you know what that feels like, I don't know. Sometimes you don't even know you're there. And then as you keep pushing it, you realize you were kind of in a rut. I was happy, but I wasn't as fulfilled as I am now. You just got to keep pushing and trusting the process. It takes years and years to get where you want to be. A lot of people will just, give up on themselves before they even get there. Or they'll make excuses too. That's a big one, is like, I hear so many different excuses for why people aren't making art or why they can't make art. And it's more about what are you willing to give up in your free time, that you're putting in your free time. If you have free time, really. I'm fortunate enough to have free time even with a kid and a job and responsibilities and stuff. I make the time for it. Very nice. So these clouds are the underpainting, we'll call it. I did this with Prismacolor markers, and it creates a nice sort of underglow. Like there's yellow and orange over top of the roof here. I'll see if I can zoom it in without too much of a glare. There we go. But you can see there's like that blue is underneath, but because the yellow is on top of it, it creates sort of a greenish glow. So the effects that I can get with these colored pencils and markers now are a whole new level of technicality for me. It's pushing my artistic practice like beyond. So I got really good at the drawing part, spent my whole life drawing, and now I have good background in color and creating, like shapes and things. But I don't have that much experience with nice colored pencils, with doing this process, and for it to look really cool from the get-go, that gets me like just, that's why I was saying I'm like rejuvenated in terms of the work that I'm doing now. So I think this is really going to take off and go in a direction that is pleasing to me and pleasing to other people too. I think this type of artwork here, I think there's a big market for this, and I didn't even have to think of it from a marketing standpoint. It just came out of me. This is what I wanted to create. And it's kind of like the more you practice, the luckier you get. Well, I feel lucky that I discovered this because I I didn't see it coming. Like if you asked me in December or November, hey, are you thinking of doing these projects where you draw the houses and the scenes like you are now? No, this was not in the playbook. I actually bought oil pastels and was going to start doing landscapes in oil pastels. And suddenly I'm like, I don't really care about that. But I do want to take my landscapes and start turning them into this style. I have one from a plein air session I did recently, and I started. This is like how a sketch looks when I first started. It looks all twisted and crazy. And I see what I see. You might see something completely different, but I'm really going to be bending the perspective and drawing in a less realistic style, but one with like smoother shapes and blending of the trees and stuff. I'm not going to try to get every leaf in. I want it to be sort of an aesthetic, a feel. So this was actually a winter scene, but I will make it a summer type scene. Maybe like a very warm, sunset-y kind of piece where the grass has oranges in it. I might do an orange underglow for that one. And I might even do it in pastel as a final piece. So I'll do the study in colored pencil, probably on a piece of paper just like this, 6x9. Well, this is good practice on live because I don't think anyone's gone on, so I've been talking to myself the whole time. It's all about getting the blending down. I didn't do any studies prior to this one. I just hand drew it while watching Fuller House. I always remember the shows I'm watching when I'm working on a piece. and then when I work on sections, I remember parts of a show that were playing while I was doing it, which is, I don't know, sometimes that muddles up my artistic process, I will be honest. It makes it a little bit little odd. Happy Saturday. It's cold out. It's quiet in the neighborhood. I'll tell you what, I never ever thought I would go to colored pencils. I also never thought I would go the route of sort of illustrating or doing an illustrative style. I always thought I had to be like a fine artist with realistic landscapes and everything. And I guess I was just trying to fight something like, you know how a teenager fights everything and wants to be like rebel against their parents and stuff. I think I did that with my art, and I was trying to be something that I really was not. I I'm more of a fan of all that fine art stuff, like realistic landscapes from the Barbizon school. I like look at those and I envy them, but I just want to hang them in my house. I don't have to actually do them or execute them. Because when I do artwork like that, it stresses me out and it doesn't make me as happy or relaxed as when I'm doing this right here. And that's usually like, you got to pay attention to that as an artist, or you're just going to be tortured the whole time. Kind of like how the sky's going. I gotta like blend up and down now. I don't know. I'm gonna keep working back into that sky. It's not fully to my liking. I gotta get white in there. That's what it is. Give it a little pastel glow. There we go. I think this piece, I think it's gonna turn out just awesome. I don't know if I'll want to turn this one into a painting, but this one could definitely go the route of becoming a print. There we go. See how that like gives it like a misty effect versus just the flat, hard colors. And you burn through white colored pencils. That's what I'm learning through all of this, is like, I don't know, you use it almost more than any other pencil because you're constantly putting highlights into stuff. And then the last step, if you are going to add shadows with black, like, you don't burn through the black pencil unless you're doing like a night sky. But you really don't have to add that much black to get like a shadow or darken something. You can also use like dark blues and purples and things. Whatever color the sky is really is what color the shadows are going to reflect as in a darker value. All right. Where am I going with this one? I have to sit and like visualize what the next color will be. This is the problem. If I don't do color studies, like, I have to get it right the first try. So I just look at it as a whole. It gets easier as I work through the entire piece. I really want like a dark blue in this thing, but I'm trying to keep myself on the one kind of color palette of these colors right here. So as much as I want the purple to kind of go into a darker blue, I'm going to refrain from it. So if this is in shadow here, this is like my darker side of the buildings, where do I want to go with that? I'm thinking I might want to go with this one here. That's pretty light, but I can always go a very light cream color for the front of this. And I think these two colors play off of each other really well. So I'll do this here, go in with a little bit of the vermilion, what is that? Pale vermilion, and as a shadow, and then maybe a tad bit of the magenta over top, which I didn't know that was magenta, so gotta sharpen the old pencil. There's so much I want to test out on the live here, like playing music in the background while I'm doing this, because if nobody's going to go on here, or even just if people are on here, I want it to be like a comfortable environment. I just don't know how music would sound. I've heard it on other people's, on their Instagram lives and stuff, but I don't know if it's going to work on here. Oh man, sloppy coloring. Yes, see, I knew that was the right color choice. I think it really starts to contrast with the other building really well. I just got to check the live status on here. See how we're doing. Cool. Well, I'm gonna like it. Oh my gosh, I have 1 like now from myself. Oh my gosh. It's still got me like working. Doing this because oh, there we go. On here, I want it to be like a comfortable environment. I just don't know how music would sound. I've heard it on other people's, on their Instagram lives. It's working. And stuff, but I don't know if it's gonna work on here. Oh man. I wish I could stream this live to Instagram because I have like 28 people subscribed on YouTube, so not a big following. I don't really use it, and I've stayed away because I just always thought I didn't know how my art translates on here, because usually you want to make like videos that sort of you have to make videos, record, and I don't have time for that like I did before the child. But I am interested in like possibly like doing some teaching on here, or just using it as a platform to draw people towards Instagram, where I do most of my showing of the work and stuff. And if I can turn this into more of a business model than I already have, I wouldn't mind doing Patreon. I just don't want to jump into that because I'm so inconsistent. And honestly, I don't think I'm going to post stuff every month. I'm not going to, or I'm going to set something up that's too big for me to follow through with. That's a problem that I have. Because I don't know if I'll like it or not. And if I stop liking it, I'm going to like half-ass it. And then I feel guilty. Like I'm letting people down. Little highlight on the roof here. Catching a little bit of that sunset, the lighter part of it. Nice. I don't regret those color choices. And look at that, I can add some little kind of salmon pink shadows underneath. And even some hot pink. I'm not sure how I feel about that, so I won't go overboard. Keep it light. I always decide on the windows last. I already know what I'm going to do for this one. Either red or purple. Or magenta or purple. And I think I'm going purple with that one. AKA lavender. That's the shade of the purple. You know, purple's not a color. Purple is like the color family of many different purples. So if you look at something and you say, that's purple, you're just describing how it looks. You're not actually giving it like the true name of that purple. I know, it's mind-boggling. One of the things I want to do on here when it's all finished is I want to draw shadows, cast. So I don't have any like shadow other than what's right below the, what are they, eaves or whatever of the building. But I do want to have like diagonal cast shadows kind of like hitting different parts to break up the piece into more geometric shapes. Because that, my friends, is something to see. That's what sets, I think, my good pieces apart from my great pieces. Can I say great about my own artwork? I don't know. Maybe. Getting there. They're great to me. It's hard. I'm not used to drawing with just light kind of pastel-y colors because it's hard to decide what my darks are going to be. I'm someone that likes to add a lot of contrast with like the lights and darks, but I'm also trying to break out of that habit. I really think there's something to this other way of going about it, and I'm going to try and understand what that is. Got to push your boundaries. Very cool. I just have to stop and decide every once in a while what is the next color that's going to go into place, like putting a puzzle together. And it starts to look more and more visually balanced with those colors that go in. These little sections here, I don't know. Sometimes I like to come back to that stuff. I don't like to make too big of jumps from one to the next. Purple, pink, they look good next to each other. Sorry, lavender and hot pink. And then I'll put something between the orange and that kind of makes it pop. So I might even bring the yellow. This is canary yellow. Bring that up. I really do want to stay away from too much of the warm yellows in here though. Since that's the shadow side, I think I could go in with magenta. There we go. Nice transition. And then watch this. Everything sort of flows. And now I'm going to create some really cool contrast just by sticking a big pop or big highlight of white in there. That is what's up. But this is really fun, deciding which colors go where. Can even keep windows the marker color underneath. Like this actually looks kind of like a reflection. We'll see though. I don't know if I want any of this like seafoam sort of green color in there. I am definitely going to go back to the clouds, I think, and give them some white with pinkish purple.